Hi folks, Yasin here, back again with a new video for you today. Today's video is part 2 of my What is Star Wars video, continuing from continuing from the first one, of course. For those of you that haven't seen part 1, I'll put a link to that video in the description box for you below. But for now, moving forward to part 2. So here goes. Please like this video as well as all my other videos and all my shorts. Please share them, please comment on them, please subscribe to my channel, and please click the bell for new notifications from me. Alright, so here goes. The Star Wars canon fictional universe spans multiple eras, of which 3 are focused around each of the film trilogies. The following eras were defined in January 2021 and further were defined rather in January 2021 and further refined and expanded in April 2023. Dawn of the Jedi. The first Jedi wields the Force, which will be depicted in an upcoming untitled film. The Old Republic. The Galactic Republic is founded, and the Jedi Order emerges to protect it. A schism within the Jedi leads to the creation of the Sith. The High Republic. Under the protection of the Jedi, the Republic grows into a golden age. This era includes the live-action series The Acolyte, the animated series Young Jedi Adventures, and the High Republic literary works. I've seen and heard about the books and comics and stuff published for the High Republic. Very awesome stuff. Fall of the Jedi. The Republic's Supreme Chancellor Palpatine, secretly the Sith Lord Darth Sidious, orchestrates the Clone Wars, overthrows the Republic, exterminates the Jedi Order, and corrupts Anakin Skywalker. This era includes the prequel trilogy. Films, the beginning of the episodic Skywalker saga, the animated series The Clone Wars and Tales of the Jedi, and the upcoming video game Zero Company. As we all know, Zero Company was first talked about at Star Wars Celebration Japan back in April of this year. By the way, what are your thoughts on that? Please tell me below in the comments bar. Reign of the Empire. Palpatine's galactic empire rules the galaxy, and the remaining Jedi are hunted down. This era, not Jedi, era. This era includes the standalone films Solo and Rogue One, the live-action series Obi-Wan Kenobi and Andor, the animated series The Bad Batch and Rebels, the upcoming animated series Maul Shadow Lord, also talked about at Star Wars Celebration in Japan of this year, and the video games Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor, and Vader Immortal. Age of Rebellion. The rebellion against the Empire spreads across the galaxy, while the Jedi return with the emergence of Luke Skywalker. This era includes the original trilogy films and the video games Battlefront 2, Squadrons, and Outlaws. The New Republic. Following the Empire's defeat, the emergent New Republic attempts to reunite the galaxy, while threatened by the remnants of the Empire. This era includes the live-action series The Mandalorian and its and its film sequel The Mandalorian and Grogu, The Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka and Skeleton Crew, Rise of the First Order. Rise of the First Order. The remnants of the Empire transform into the First Order, but are fought by the Resistance, climaxing the defeat of Palpatine and the Sith by the Jedi Rey. This era includes the sequel trilogy films, the animated series Resistance, and the video game Tales from the Galaxy's Edge. New Jedi Order. Rey builds a new Jedi Order, which will be depicted in an upcoming untitled film, along with the unrelated upcoming film Starfighter. The expanded universe of spin-off media depicts different levels of continuity. I almost said community. Which were deemed non-canonical and rebranded as Legends on April 25th, 2014. To make the most subsequent works aligned to the episodic films, the Clone Wars film and television series. From 1976 to 2014, the term Expanded Universe, or EU, was an umbrella term for all officially licensed Star Wars storytelling material set outside the events depicted within the theatrical films, including novels, comics, and video games. Lucasfilm maintained internal continuity between the films and television content and the EU material until April 25th, 2014, when the company announced all of the EU works would cease production. Extended works, existing works would no longer be considered canon to the franchise, and subsequent reprints would be rebranded under the Star Wars Legends label, with downloadable content for the massively multiplayer online game The Old Republic. The only Legends materials to still be produced. The Star Wars canon was subsequently restructured to only include the existing 6 feature films, the animated film The Clone Wars, and its companion animated series. All future projects and creative developments across all types of media would be overseen and coordinated by the Story Group, announced as a division of Lucasfilm, created to maintain continuity and cohesive vision on the storytelling of the franchise. Multiple comic series from Marvel and novels published by Del Rey were produced after the announcement. Since the new canon has been introduced, there has been a multitude of pieces of expanded universe continuity that have become a part of canon. Star Wars in print predates the release of the first film, with the November 1976 novelization of Star Wars initially subtitled From the Adventures of Luke Skywalker. Credited to Lucas, it was ghostwritten by Alan Dean Foster. The first expanded universe story appeared in Marvel Comics. In Marvel Comics Star Wars issue number 7 in January 1978. The first 6 issues being an adaptation of the film, followed by Foster's sequel novel Splinter of the Mind's Eye the following month. How many of you, by a show of comments, please, how many of you have the Splinter of the Mind's Eye book? How many of you have the Splinter of the Mind's Eye book? Please tell me below in the comments bar. After penning the novelization of the original film, Foster followed it with the sequel, Splinter of the Mind's Eye, in 1978, the novelizations of The Empire Strikes Back, 1980, by Donald F. Glut, which I also have. How many of you have that book as well? Please tell me below in the comments bar. The novelizations of The Empire Strikes Back by Donald F. Glut and Return of the Jedi by James Caan followed, as well as the Han Solo Adventures trilogy, 1979 to 1980, by Brian Daley, and The Adventures of Lando Calrissian trilogy, in 1983 by L. Neil Smith. Timothy Zahn's best-selling Thrawn trilogy, 1991 to 1993, reignited interest in the franchise and introduced the popular characters Grand Admiral Thrawn, Mara Jade, Talon Karrde, and Gilad Pellaeon. Yeah. The first novel, Heir to the Empire, reached number 1 on the New York Times bestseller list, and the series finds Luke, Leia, and Han facing off against tactical genius Thrawn, who is plotting to retake the galaxy for the Empire, in The Courtship of Princess Leia, 1994, by Dave Wolverton. Set immediately before the Thrawn trilogy, Leia considers an advantageous political marriage to Prince Isolde of the planet Hapes. But she and Han ultimately marry. Steve Perry's Shadows of the Empire, in 1996. I have that book as well. How many of you have it? Please tell me in the comments bar, in the comment section. Steve Perry's Shadows of the Empire, set between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Oh, so that's where it falls. Alright. Thank you. Set between the Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, was part of a multimedia campaign that included a comic book series and video game. I have one of the comics. The cover is of Darth Vader and Prince Shizo. Mine specifically came with the action figures of said characters as well, but I don't have the video game. I don't have the N64 video game. The novel introduced the crime lord Prince Shizo and another popular character who would appear in multiple other works. Other notable series from Bantam include the Jedi Academy trilogy by Kevin J. Anderson, the 14-book Young Jedi Knight series, the Jedi Academy trilogy, 1994, by Kevin J. Anderson, the 14-book Young Jedi Knight series, from 1995 to 1998, by Anderson and Rebecca Moesta, and the X-Wing series, 1996 to 2012, by Michael A. Stackpole and Aaron Alston. Del Rey took over Star Wars book publishing in 1999, releasing what would become a 19-installment novel series called The New Jedi Order, spanning from 1999 and between 1999 and 2003. I have 9 of the 19 New Jedi Order books. but I wanna try to get the entire series. How many of you have the entire series? Please tell me below in the comment section. Written by multiple authors, the series was set 25 to 30 years after the original films, and introduced the Yuuzhan Vong, a powerful alien race attempting to invade and conquer the entire galaxy. The best-selling multi-author series, Legacy of the Force, 2006 to 2008, chronicles the crossover of Han Solo and Leia's son Jacen Solo to the dark side of the Force. Among his evil deeds, he kills Luke's wife Mara Jade as a sacrifice to join the Sith. Although no longer canon, the story is paralleled in The Force Awakens with Han and Leia's son, Ben Solo, who becomes the evil Kylo Ren. The series set in the prequel era were published by Scholastic for younger audiences. The 18-book Jedi Apprentice, 1999 to 2002, chronicles the adventures of Obi-Wan Kenobi and his master Qui-Gon Jinn in the years before The Phantom Menace. The 11-book Jedi Quest, 2001 to 2004, follows Obi-Wan Kenobi and his own apprentice Anakin Skywalker in between The Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, and the 10th book The Last of the Jedi, 2005 to 2008, set almost immediately after Revenge of the Sith, features Obi-Wan and the last few surviving Jedi. In 2019, a new prequel-era novel starring Qui-Gon Jinn and the young Obi-Wan Kenobi was published by Del Rey under the title Star Wars Master and Apprentice. Although Thrawn had been designated a Legends character in 2014, he was reintroduced into the canon in 2016 for the third season of Rebels, the Rebels animated series, with Zahn returning to write more novels based on the character and set in the new canon. Marvel Comics published a Star Wars comic book series from 1977 to 1986. Original Star Wars comic books were serialized in the Marvel magazine Pizzazz between 1977 and 1979. The 1977 installments were the first original Star Wars stories not directly adapted from the films to appear in print form as they preceded those of the Star Wars comic series. From 1985 to 1987, the animated children's series Ewoks and Droids inspired comic series from Marvel's Star Comics line. You left out a word. From 1985 to 1987, the animated series. I read that part already. According to Marvel Comics former editor-in-chief Jim Shooter, the strong sales of Star Wars comics saved Marvel financially in 1977 and 1978. Marvel's Star Wars series was one of the industry's top-selling titles in 1979 and 1980. The only downside for Marvel was that the 100,000 copy sales quota was surpassed quickly, allowing Lippincott to renegotiate the royalty arrangements from a position of strength. In the late 1980s, Marvel dropped a new Star Wars comic it had in development. In the late 1980s, Marvel dropped a new Star Wars comic it had in development, which was picked up with which was picked up by, rather, Dark, Dark Horse Comics, which was picked up by Dark Horse Comics and published as the popular Dark Empire series from 1991 to 1995. Dark Horse subsequently launched dozens of series set after the original film trilogy, including Tales of the Jedi, 1993 to 1998, X-Wing Rogue Squadron, 1995 to 1998, and Star Wars Republic, 1998 to 2006, Star Wars Tales, 1999 to 2005. 1999 to 2005, the same time span as the prequel trilogy, rather. Star Wars Empire, 2002 to 2006, and Knights of the Old Republic, 2006 to 2010. After Disney's acquisition of Lucasfilm, it was announced in January of 2014 that in 2015, the Star Wars Comics license would return to Marvel Comics, whose parent company, Marvel Entertainment, Disney had purchased in 2009. Launched in 2015, the first three publications were titled Star Wars, Darth Vader, and the miniseries Princess Leia. First announced as Project Luminous at Star Wars Celebration in April 2019, the Star Wars The High Republic Publishing Initiative was revealed in a press conference in February 2020, involving the majority of the then current officially licensed publishers, a new era set 200 years before the Skywalker saga, specifically before the Phantom Menace. Was explored in various books and comics, including ongoing titles by Marvel and IDW Publishing. Written by Cavan Scott and Daniel Jose Older, respectively, Marvel Comics will publish a one-shot comic book series on September 4th, 2024. Side note, they had already done this. That bridges the gap between the High Republic Publishing Initiative and the events of the Acolyte, titled Star Wars The Acolyte. Cal Naka, the one-shot, was written Cal Naka, the one-shot, was written by High Republic writer Cavan Scott, with art by Marika Cresta. It focuses on Cal Naka, the Wookiee Jedi introduced in The Acolyte. John Williams composed the soundtracks for the 9 episodic films. He stated he would retire from the franchise with the rise of Skywalker. But he composed a theme for Obi-Wan Kenobi for the miniseries of said name, and Han Solo's theme for Solo, A Star Wars Story. Williams also created the main theme for Galaxy's Edge. Several other composers worked on the soundtracks, including John Powell for Obi-Wan Kenobi, Michael Giacchino, Rogue One, and Ludwig Göransson for The Mandalorian. The first Star Wars audio work is the Star Wars. The first Star Wars audio work is the story of Star Wars. I almost said the Star Wars of story. An LP using audio samples from the original film and a new narration to retell the story released in 1977. Most later printed novels were adapted into audio novels usually released on cassette tape and re-released on CD as of 2019. Audio novels, audio-only novels have been released not directly based on printed media. And this is where I'm going to cut it for now, folks. But I'll be back soon with part 3, talking about the radio adaptations and so on. But for now, this is where I cut it. Please like this video, please share it, please comment on it, please subscribe to my channel, and please click the bell for new notifications from me. But that's all for now. Bye.